Hello, our project is SatNet, and it is a deep learning model for classifying population centers. So the problem we are trying to solve is that the spread of diseases such as COVID-19 are tracked by using hospital data. However, many poor countries lack the resources to collect this data. This leads to diseases developing and spreading in poorer countries and quickly spreading to the rest of the world. To stop this problem, we aim to give poorer nations the power to stop the spread of disease at their root. Our solution is to create a deep learning model called SatNet that takes a satellite image from a pair of coordinates and predicts whether the area is a slum or a poor area, or an industrial area or a rich area. In slums and industrial areas, diseases are more likely to spread because of the fact that people are often cramped together and conditions are often pretty bad. In comparison, rich areas tend to have access to better medical care. So actually knowing which areas are richer and which are more like slums or which are more industrial areas is actually really useful in tracking the spread of diseases. Um, and our architecture, how it works is that it takes in a 640 by 640 satellite image. It is then sent to a ResNet 50 model and an Inception v3 model. Features from the middle of the ResNet 50 Inception v3 are then concatenated and passed into a mobile net. Um, and this is done because mobile nets usually have trouble extracting features on their own. Features from ResNet 50, Inception v3, and MobileNet v2 are then passed to a fully connected neural network that then outputs three values, with one value being the probability that it is an industrial area, one value being the probability that it is a rich area, and one value being the probability that it is a poor area. So this is our model architecture. As you can see, it's really, really big. The technologies we use for this is that we actually made our model in TensorFlow, and then we trained it on AWS using an EC2 instance. And we also did a lot of data preprocessing with NumPy, and we were also able to get the satellite images by using the Google Maps API. Our future app there are also many other future applications of this technology. Classification through satellite images can be hugely beneficial in the future. War zones and other decimated parts of the world can be recognized far easier, and it can be sent faster. So, for example, this technology, a similar technology to this, could be used for example, in Ukraine to see which areas have been damaged the most by warfare and which areas need the most aid, for instance. Um, and nonprofit organizations can now send aid far more effectively and precisely to specific parts of our country or city. We believe that this helps our community because of the fact that diseases from poor countries often come to richer countries, and that's often how big diseases like COVID-19 end up spreading. So if we can curb the spread of diseases in poor countries, then we can really prevent disasters like COVID-19. Not to mention that there are many people in the Loudoun area who give to charity and whatnot, and so being able to know exactly like what places of the world need aid the most would be very useful for Loudoun County based charity organizations. um, and satellite classification can also be a shield that protects humanity all across the globe. Not to mention that knowing what areas are poor, industrial, and rich could also be used for social scientists that are researching conditions, or economists, for example, that are trying to research the development of different countries. There are so many different applications for this in terms of how much more knowledge it can give to social scientists, and also economists. This is an example of our model. So what we did was that we got a bunch of 640 by 640 patches. And this is like the overall city. So we like patched them all together into this one big image. Here we created a heat map where each of the squares here represents our prediction for a specific patch. The green areas are the rich areas. Rio de Janeiro happens to be or this area of Rio de Janeiro that we use happen to be a very rich area, so most of it is generally rich. However, there are also some industrial areas towards the coast, as well as some poor areas near the coast as well. This is about what we expect because we would expect the majority of poverty to be closer to the coast, as well as a lot of industry to be closer to the coast, because of the fact that many factories, need to ship their products overseas, so they're often located close to ports and whatnot. This is also what we would expect to see in terms of the spread of diseases, because we would expect that if diseases are really spreading from poor areas, that these poor areas would be closer to the coast, and that therefore diseases would develop there and then spread throughout the rest of the world through ports. So that is our project SatNet. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.